So in this module, we're going to look at designing an accessible bathroom. When we talk about that, it has to do with the American Disabilities Act and the code requirements for accessibility for people with disabilities. But before we got into that module, which is part of a larger discussion about just plumbing um, for this, for specifically for this course, I thought it would be useful to look at the bigger picture of universal design. As a way to couch this project and to make you think about why you're designing certain features in an accessible bathroom. And so um, we're lucky enough in Western New York to have a what's called the Center for Inclusive Design and Environmental Access, which is a research group at the School of Architecture and Planning at the University of Buffalo. And they take a look at the built environment and it's fit for our population, this concept of universal design, making design accessible to everyone in a society. And that can be from old to young to people who have temporary impairments, which would be something as simple as being pregnant or a caregiver with a young child, and thinking about how they navigate and find utility and pleasure in the built environment that is around them and the one that you create as designers. So this will click you through to their website and you can explore the basic concepts. But when we talk about this idea of accessible design, I think it's important to keep in mind this idea of universal design. So it's not just for people with disabilities per se, and to the cliche of just someone in a wheelchair. There are all kinds of host of impairments and/or disabilities that we're all affected by through phases of our lives. So that's that website, and a lot of this presentation is going to be about the resources that are available to you. Here's another one that I found that was a great visual guide to accessibility features. I just clicked through to one that's specifically about bathrooms and sanitary facilities. It's on a European site, so a lot of the information is in metric, but it has nice supporting graphics. Things to think about, this idea, and just visually, this idea of the clutter, the kinds of components that need to go in to make places accessible. So we have these ideas to me as a designer, of making these both of high utility and still attractive, rich environments that we create. So that resource is available to you also. And then we have, I put these both up because one is the formal government site for the American Disabilities Act, and that lays out all of the standards. And this has some rich documents in it, full of information. But as I'll open this one up, you'll find that it's really very text heavy. So you can read into the very fine details of the actual code itself. And then the other site that I've hyperlinked here is a architect's guide that I think is very graphically useful. And this one is driven a little bit by product placement, so there's always a cost to these things. In this case, though, lots of good, and there probably are just reassembled ADA graphics. But it quickly lays out this idea of all the dimensions that are required to be concerned about. And we're going to go through all of these. And here's where we've got the idea of some product placements. There's a company that makes, I believe, the towel dispensers and the grab rails that also provides a lot of useful information for designers. But once again, that kind of jaded from a marketing aspect. ADA compliance document. This doesn't appear to be a government one, but I thought it was very rich in information also, talking visualizations of curb cuts. These are things that will be required for you when you get to Comprehensive Studio. The idea of understanding these issues of creating these amenities, or critical amenities, should we say. And one of the other ones here is this ADA checklist, which I thought was really useful. This would be a great document for you to review as you were going through the comprehensive design of a layout of a building. And if you go through this far enough, it goes to a checklist. And the checklist starts from almost your arrival at the building, looking at ramps, parking spaces, and moves through all of the details of the building. So here we have formal descriptions of all the from grab rail sizes to dimensions to, I believe this will go all the way down to, here's door clearances around elevators and all the way down to bathroom level details. So I think this is a really important hyperlink for you to want to check out. And then last, when we get to the bathroom aspect, we're gonna use some BIM products for the first time. I guess what I should say or clarify that is a third-party BIM component, which is the bathroom partitions. Um, I think it's fun to use because it's a very powerful tool as far as creating these stalls for us, and then making sure that we include the ADA accessible stall and laying it out. And once again, it's this company Bradley that seems to have a lot of very user-friendly ADA type of resources available to you. So in this case, this is just a link um, to that BIM product if you're interested to check it out before you start your lab. And we're going to need a login, so I'm not going to bother with that. So that pretty well covers just actually not even an introduction to this idea of universal design. The only way you can really become introduced to it is to spend a little bit of time reviewing some of those hyperlinks that are created in the slideshow. So please do before you start the restroom design, and I think you'll find it a much richer learning experience.